Sorry. Okay. Also, yeah. Yeah. I just turned it on. You're commenting on it as well. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Awesome. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Park Township Zoning Board of Appeals, Monday, March 2nd, 2026. I'm going to call the meeting to order. We've all got an agenda in front of us. I'm going to look for an approval of tonight's agenda as it's presented.
So moved.
Support. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, meeting agenda approved. We've also got minutes from the February 2nd meeting. Has everyone had a chance to look at those, and do we have any comments? No edits or revisions? Okay, as presented.
I've moved that we approve the minutes from the February 2nd, 2026 meeting as presented.
Support. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, approval of February 2026 minutes is approved. Okay, which brings us to the next item on our agenda for the table item, which was a request by Interlake Properties LLC for an appeal of a decision of the zoning administrator regarding the status of the subject parcel as an unimproved lot per section 38-66(1) of the Park Township Code of Ordinances. Said lands and premises are located on the north side of Interlake Walk, east of Lakeside Road. Okay, so this was tabled last time for some additional information from the staff, and we've got that. And that was a comparison for acreage comparisons, right? For what, the 0.08 acres or less. Lorna, can you kind of summarize that provision for us a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I did is I went through and I picked out every single parcel in Macatawa Park that is 0.08 acres or less. And table 1 that is in the memo is an overview of those parcels. So out of those 42 parcels, other than the subject parcel, there are 8 homes that predate Park Township. There are 23 that were built prior to the creation of the overlay district, 9 that are part of a PUD, and then the remaining 2 that were built after the overlay district was created. So that's the first table. The second table provides information for the 16 new home permits that we have on file that were issued between 2004 and 2016. And there is one exception, which is one from 1993 that happened to be scanned into the property file. And then table 3 provides information regarding 21 new home permits that were issued between the creation of the overlay district, which is August 26, 2018 to present.
Can you help me understand? Okay, I've got the, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the 3, there it is. Okay, please reward the table 3. You said there was a table 2 even?
Yes, there is. Should be at least.
Oh, got it. Okay, got it. I guess has everybody had time to do that? Do we have any questions? Ms. Milstead? About what she's provided?
Mr. Chair, may I ask Ms. Milstead a question?
Absolutely.
In your research and looking at these other parcels in the district, were you able to find any parcels that were undergoing the type of review that we are in the process of in this case?
I did not see any that had circumstances similar to this one.
Okay, and so there was nothing that you saw that would guide the ZBA or provide any information about how this may have been interpreted in the past.
That is correct, yes, unfortunately.
Thank you for doing that research. That was very
Absolutely.
thorough and interesting, and very detailed. So thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, I guess, so I was not present at our last meeting where this was tabled at. But from what I understand, I mean, this information was requested, to gain a little more insight on where we need to go to make a ruling, I guess, right? I don't know if everybody feels at this point with what's been presented to help guide us a little bit, open for some discussion here from the board on some of the next steps.
It seems like the additional information that was provided just kind of reiterates for us that we are really looking at an ordinance interpretation question, how to apply it, that there is nothing in the record to indicate that there has been a similarly situated property or that it was treated in a certain way, that we should be aware of. So I think that, that was the discussion at the January meeting, questioning whether there was something similar that we could look at to see how this had been interpreted in the past, but it sounds like there has not been.
So I don't have the original, I'm sorry to ask this, from the last meeting, from the last time we met, was there a recent survey of this property provided with all of this, that I'm missing? It could be missing, I think.
I did not include one in this.
This packet, the original. Do you have that with you by chance?
I have it on my computer.
Okay. I'm just wondering if I were to look at it, and I didn't get a chance to, but I was just wondering about, so this figure 4 that's in our packet. Okay. It shows the parcel layouts, right? With some dimensions. So when you look at the top of those dimensions, 45.5 and 45.5, between 49 and 52 parcels there. You know, and looking at how that's located at obviously the top of the hill. I'm just wondering, like, if the new survey was done, if it would match this. And the only reason I'm asking that is I'm just wondering, like, over time, we're getting to be 35. I mean, yeah, how many years is that now? It's a lot. It's like 90 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
When this was done. I'm just wondering, from the slope, do we know the topography, what the actual slope is of the hill?
So I have the topography from the Ottawa County GIS, and then the applicant did provide a site plan with the topography as well in the original application materials.
Okay. I can see that in figure 3 with the contours. Wow. Sorry to move. The reason I'm just wondering and contemplating in my own mind, like, if that stake was put down where this was plotted originally. If there's new stakes, fine, whatever. But I'm wondering about that original stake and if there would have been any potential for that thing to move or creep on a hill as extreme as that. I'm completely speculating and shouldn't be, but I'm interpreting.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I may, I know the applicant provided a survey in the application that's dated December 16th of 2024. But then there was another survey that was provided, I think by one of the neighbors for lots 48 and 49.
Okay.
That was done in 2023. The only reason I'm raising these sort of two up is if you look at the plat in figure 4 in Lorna's wonderful memo,
yep,
you can kind of see that easement goes up to the corner of lot 52 and kind of goes along I guess it would be the southeast portion of lot 49 until you reach the southern boundary of 52. But the survey that was provided, I think that's in front of you, it looks like this. It actually shows the easement hitting lot 49 at the southeast corner and going towards the west. So it's quite possible that if there are stakes there, they have kind of shifted and moved from what the plat depicts.
I mean, it does look like, looks like it agrees with the 51.5. Number, 49 plot, right? Looks like that 51.5 is still true. That's shown on table 4 or figure 4 as well. I was just wondering, I didn't have this, I was just curious.
Sure.
If that could be used. Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was part of that, and I was reviewing that too, like, man, that's extreme. I was just curious. How it paired up with the new. So I guess at this point, the question before us, right, is whether or not we agree with the administrator's ruling originally, and secondarily, whether it should be then considered approved or unapproved. Is that the question before us?
I think that is, the question before us is whether to affirm or reach a different decision regarding the zoning administrator's determination. Whether it's improved or unimproved falls under that umbrella.
Yeah.
It's not a separate determination, the way I understand it. The zoning administrator determined that it is an unimproved lot. That decision has been appealed to us. May I share some comments, Mr. Chair? So in reviewing this question, I returned to the language in section 38-321. Under letter C. Under letter C. And it states, permitted and special uses within the Macatawa Park Overlay District shall be regulated in the underlying zoning district subject to the following provisions. So shall, as used in a zoning ordinance, denotes a mandatory term. So shall be. Then we have subparagraph 1 that says improved lot. A lot containing a single family dwelling or a two-family dwelling shall comply with the following, and then it goes on to provide some requirements. I think the applicant has acknowledged, and the record clearly indicates that this is not a lot containing a single family dwelling or a two-family dwelling, and therefore we look at subparagraph 2, which states unimproved lot. A lot vacant of a principal building, accessory structure, or combination thereof shall comply with the following. There's not a third category. So we have either an improved lot or an unimproved lot. And while there are definitions of those terms elsewhere in the zoning ordinance under section 38-6, our zoning ordinance also states that where the standards of the Macatawa Park Overlay District are less restrictive or more restrictive than any other provision in the zoning ordinance, then the standards of the Macatawa Park Overlay District shall apply. So in my opinion, under 38-321, C1 or 2, we're looking at whether this is an improved lot or an unimproved lot. An unimproved lot in subparagraph 2 is described as a lot vacant of a principal building, accessory structure, or combination thereof. Again, the record does not support that there is a principal building, an accessory structure, or combination thereof on this property. And for that reason, those reasons, it would be my opinion to affirm the zoning administrator's determination in this case. I think I commented at the January meeting that if this was a portion of the neighbor's home that was encroaching, I don't believe that the applicant would take the position that there is already a single-family home on this property, and therefore we couldn't allow a second one. So I think that when we look at the encroachment that's on lot 52, I agree that with the zoning administrators, or maybe it was in the staff memo, in the discussion at the January meeting, that the encroachments do not provide a benefit to lot 52. They are a detriment to lot 52. They, as a result of the easement agreement that stems from those encroachments, reduce the amount of usable square footage on that site. They're simply not intended to benefit lot 52 and do not. The property is assessed as vacant. I personally, I don't see any way to define it other than fitting it under this description of an unimproved lot.
Thanks, Ms. Moore. I appreciate that. It really helps me too with knowing like what we're trying to do. There's 2 classifications here, right? So I mean, when I first saw this before January meeting, I wasn't sure what was going on here. It's unfortunate that it does look like there's a little bit of this retaining wall under that property, but by no means I don't feel like that it's throwing it into a category that means it's improved. I think this was either a couple things in my mind was that, again, what I was speculating earlier, or, just some faulty layout way back when. It is a detriment to that parcel and unfortunate, but I don't think that makes it improved. I agree with the assessment Ms. Morgan shared and support it. So I guess at this point, yeah, I mean, I don't know if we have other comments from.
I mean, I agree as well. I've had a lot of time to think about it because we saw it in January. And, it's just the pictures and things that we received today with the feedback from the neighbors and things like those will sort of reinforce where I was coming from. Like, it's very crowded, it's, there's no access to it, there's no improvement on it. The improvements that we were talking about earlier are really there to benefit the neighborhood, not the individual lot, retaining wall and that kind of thing is for the walkway. So I also feel that it is unfortunately.
Mr. Chairman, I would agree also that this is an unimproved parcel.
Unimproved, yeah. Okay. So I guess at this point, Laura, or we do a roll call for voting, we have to have a motion
A
for
motion.
what we correct okay. I guess we've had enough time. So, we had a public comment last time.
We held a public,
Correct.
we've held a public hearing in January on this.
And the public hearing was closed.
Correct.
For this meeting. Yeah, so I guess give what we're hearing, guys. I mean, do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chair, I will take my comments and turn those into a motion. And I would move to affirm the zoning administrator's determination for the reasons that I previously stated.
Support.
That motion and support.
Mr. Eid,
They take roll call.
Yes.
Ms. Morgan,
Yes.
Mr. Cerny,
Yes.
Ms. Payne Nayak,
Yes.
Mr. Fleece.
Yes. It's unanimous. All right, so decision of uphold the original ruling is intact. So I guess that closes our table item at this point, right? So that is the last item on our agenda. That's the only agenda.
We'll still public comment.
Public comment for the meeting. So we're going to open it up for public comment at this time. So if anybody is wanting to comment, please approach the podium and sign in and tell us your name. Seeing no one ready to do that, I'm going to close public comment.
They may be deciding. No. I wasn't sure.
I'm gonna stay here today. So.
Okay, well,
My name is John.
retract my.
I'm a Macatawa resident and have been a resident since the 40s. And so I'm familiar with the property. The concerns that we have as a group of cottagers out there is that there was not previous contact by the person who was putting the application in to talk about various things such as parking. And so I'm hoping if anything goes forward that there can be discussion and inclusion of both the Parking Corporation and the Macatawa Park Association out there in reference to any effort such as this. And I think you captured correctly the fact that there's some geography with that property. The current house that has been built there was built in the late 30s. The survey originally went in 1939. I think we all are aware, no matter where our property is, that property lines established in 39 versus 2026 can be considerably different due to the measurement aspects of things. And I will say that there is probably no property in Macatawa Park that doesn't have a lot line opportunity, so to speak. We learned to live with each other in reference to that. Also, the house that is there, it takes 60 steps to get to the first floor. And so that leads one to think that there is quite a bit of steepness there in reference to how sand piles itself, and retaining walls are put in place in order for those sands not to move. And I believe the item that you had in question in reference to this now closed discussion was a retaining wall for the original house that was built in the late 30s. So those are, and thank you so much for your determination on this project.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll say something too. I'm Joe Marrogill. I am representing I'm part of the family that owns lot 51, so adjacent to lot 52. And we were opposed, we support your finding. I mean, I think it was unanimous because it's obvious, the plain language is that it's unimproved and that the lot is just an empty lot that's nearly unbuildable. But we also were very worried that if there's construction on that lot, it would have a severe negative impact on our property, as we're at the very bottom of a extremely steep hill. Who knows how they would do it? Who knows whether they would use good construction practices in the process? And we really appreciate taking that into consideration during the deliberation process. So thank you. I think the plain language was very obvious though, so appreciate your findings.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mary Beth Mencarelli, and I serve as president of the Macatawa Park Association, which I'm going to call as the MPA. I was here tonight formally again to state that the MPA board strongly opposed the request that was held by the Interlake Properties with regards to Lot 52 in Macatawa Park. As you probably know, Macatawa Park is a private community with privately owned infrastructure. And in 2024, the association actually purchased significant portions of land within the park, including large areas at the main beach, as well as roads and sidewalks in all 4 sections of the MPA. Parking, as was mentioned, is separately owned and controlled by the Macatawa Parking Corporation. First, as already mentioned, parking. Every existing cottage in the central and north beach sections already has an assigned parking space in the upper lot. There are no unassigned parking spaces. In fact, there's a waiting list of current owners who would like to have additional spaces. The application shown in the drawings shows a 10 by 20 rectangular parking area at the top of the dune. I would really think, and I know that you guys affirmed the previous decision, but to come out and see where this lot is and to walk down that small easement, which is at least 4 or 5 feet that accesses this property to go up. The application shows this, but in it, it also says that this area is not intended for vehicle parking. So there doesn't appear to be a viable parking solution for this lot. And I echo what Mr. Groenberg said, is that there should have been some reaching out to current people in the association to talk about parking, talk about building within the Macatawa area. A property without permanent practical parking should not be considered as improved. Second, the roads and sidewalks in this section are privately owned. They're old. They've been there a long time. And there does appear, as mentioned, to be a private easement near that location, which I've just said is 4 to 5 feet wide, which at this point when I wrote this needs further clarification of use. The only other apparent way to create access would have been through litigation to force an easement over neighboring private property, which directly impacts established property rights. A lot that would require legal access to obtain access should, in my opinion, not be considered as improved. Third, as was mentioned by Mr. Marigo, is dune stability and erosion. While this may not be designated as a critical dune, it is an active dune system. Many, if all lots on Interlake Walk have retaining walls behind their cottages because of erosion. When my parents bought the cottage in 1969, we could walk behind our cottage. We no longer can do that because the dune is basically right up against the cottage. Erosion is ongoing and is measurable. Construction on that slope would increase risk to the adjoining properties, and that risk is very real. In reviewing the appeal documents, the applicant's opinion was that it was somewhere between unimproved and improved. And I appreciate the conversation tonight and saying there's really only two. There's no in between. It's one or the other. Finally, I would be remiss in my responsibilities as president if I did not address the conduct surrounding this application. The identities of members in our community were used without their permission in connection with this request. Only after direct communication demanding that this cease and desist were those names removed by Interlake Property. This raises serious concerns about transparency and good faith. Again, we were asking that this not be awarded, and I appreciate the decision that was made, and I really thank you for the time and the ability to comment.
Thank you.
Good evening. Leave the sign up. Do you have the sign up sheet?
I'll bring it up.
Okay. My name's Gaten Javilla-Rush. I'm here on behalf of the Greers. They're in lot 49. They can't be here this evening. Since you've already made the decision, I came prepared to talk about it. I don't have much more to say. I did see some perplexed faces when she was talking about, the lady was just up here from Macatawa Park Association was talking about the use of other names of other folks in that neighborhood. Hopefully you've read the materials and you're familiar with that story. There was an auction for this property. The history is probably more important to any further proceedings that would have, so I won't go into great depth, but you should know that this property had a market value to those in the neighborhood. And when you think that you're bidding against one of your neighbors, you approach the bid a bit differently. And I think that's exactly what was intended when they named their corporation Van Andel Properties LLC, which was not owned by the Van Andels, and they received a cease and desist letter to stop misappropriating the name. So I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that situation, because I think it will become, if there are further proceedings, it will become even more relevant than interpreting your ordinance. I think you made the right decision in terms of setting the precedent for how you interpret your ordinance, because your decisions do set a precedent and people are going to look at them and rely on them later. Also think it respected what was intended with the original Macatawa overlay district. So appreciate you, carrying that forward and respecting what the people who spent time and care and, a lot of process putting that in place, what they did with that. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Is there anyone else that would like to make a public comment? All right, I'm really going to close it this time. All right. Yeah, which brings us to our next item on our agenda, just to talk about our next meeting, March 30th. Do we have items on the agenda, Laura?
We have at least one item. There's one that we're still trying to figure out. We have at least one item, and then we're going to talk about the bylaws.
Okay.
Some exciting stuff.
Thank you.
And that meeting is a week earlier than normal because of spring break.
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah, March 30th. Still in the time frame of March. Okay. All right. With that, do we have any? I guess we can adjourn if we have a motion. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone.